Welcome back to the weekly headlines, or should I say the yearly headlines, as we are looking back at what a year this has been and all the crazy things that have happened. I'm Kevin Hart.
I'm Mike Whitmacher. Let's get to the news. The 2020 run for Democratic presidential nominee introduced us to a vast array of characters. Some we were familiar with, like Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and Cory Booker. Others had names that were hard to pronounce, like Pete Buttigieg and Beto O'Rourke. Still others wanted to pay you, like Andrew Yang. And yet others were just plain crazy, like Marianne Williamson. And then, of course, there was this guy, John Hickenlooper, who admitted live on CNN in a town hall that back in the day he had taken his mom to the theater to see Deep Throat.
Because she didn't want to be left alone in the house again.
It was a pretty famous movie, too.
So I took my mother to see Deep Throat.
Oh, if only Hickenlooper's performance at the poll was as good as the one in the movie.
Out of a plague tends to rise a renaissance of new art. One of the best examples is the Ratatouille musical that was created by teens on TikTok. It became so popular that Broadway actors like Kevin Chamberlain got involved, and it's now going to actually premiere on stage. I wish I could have written my own show, or play, or book, but I didn't. But hey, at least I didn't make this abomination during the pandemic.
Imagine there's no heaven. Easy if you try.
No hell below us.
So tone deaf in more ways than one.
2020 saw a myriad of politicians showing off their dance moves, as there was Rodney Davis doing the two-step around questions pertaining to the election and various other topics, J.B. Pritzker doing the REM stand in the place where you are at the podium of coronavirus briefings, and of course, President Trump doing whatever this is. Either he's milking invisible cows who are standing up, or he's doing the cool jerk.
This year has been particularly tough on Madigan, as he may have to actually face consequences for his actions. Poor baby. Now, if you told me at the beginning of this year that this might be Mike Madigan's last term, I would not have believed you. But if you told me that under investigation, one of the main witnesses would die, yeah, I would have believed that.
Joe McMiniman had quite the year on the Springfield City Council, whether it was accusing other council members of taking kickbacks from the gaming industry, bemoaning the fact that Police Chief Kenny Winslow got a raise to stay in Springfield, or, of course, his thoughts on pensions. McMiniman was always at the center of things. I wouldn't be surprised if the ring in 2021, he decided to light some TIF money on fire and use it to light off firecrackers.
Seems like just a short 18 years ago that President Trump was being impeached over a perfect phone call. However, more importantly, this year with the coronavirus, President Trump initiated Operation Warp Speed to distribute the eventual vaccine as quickly as possible once it was made. Well, we have the vaccine, and hundreds upon hundreds may go to waste due to not being distributed fast enough. Should have been called Operation Ludicrous Speed. Then we'd already be vaccinated for the new UK strain, and we might be plaid, but we'd be healthy.
Sports saw many new things in 2020. Playoff bubbles, shortened seasons, no crowds in the stands, the DH in the National League, games canceled due to COVID. But one thing remained consistent and constant throughout all of 2020. The Chicago Bears' inability to get consistent play at the quarterback position.
Well, this has certainly been an interesting year for movies. Some were canned entirely. Some are being resurrected, like the Snyder Cut of Justice League. Some are batshit crazy, like Unhinged, where Russell Crowe literally tries to kill a woman who cut him off in traffic. Then we had Tenet, which still has me confused. It was by director Christopher, I'll be damned if this isn't in the theater, Nolan. Tom Cruise cussed out the Mission Impossible crew for not masking up, and we got a love story centered around the pandemic. And by centered around, I mean mercilessly exploited. But we also got the long-awaited Wonder Woman 1984, which is so cheesy, some are comparing it to the 70s Superman movies. And in an effort to be more edgy, look out for the next movie in a year or so, where Diana kills the villain by snapping their neck and screaming bloody murder.
While 2020 was a rough one for most, there were some winners this year. Take, for instance, the likes of Thomas DeVore, Darren Bailey, and the owner of Fox Run Restaurant. Now, you may be wondering, how the hell do you consider these guys winners? Well, all three of them were proud winners of at least one Butthead of the Week award in 2020.
Well, 2020 has come and gone, and we still don't have Hunter Lake. And those were your yearly headlines. I'm Kevin Hart.
I'm Mike Wimmacher, and much like 2020,
We are outta here.